In your mind, what is the purpose of story?
The purpose of story?
Yeah.
Like,
Why do we need story? Even
oh,
if it's
why do
horror, science fiction,
Oh, okay,
what is the
yeah.
reason we need story?
I don't know. It's like I feel like story is like something that probably happened, I don't know, probably before humans could even speak. Probably story was being gestures and being told by drawing things in the sand or in the ashes or pointing or gesturing. I think humans, I don't know, I think there's an innate need to tell stories. I mean, part of it is to tell the real story of what's going on, like your story of your life, so you can communicate with people in terms of what you need and stuff. But then I think it really quickly goes into just being able to imagine different scenarios, because you kind of have to do that to live life. You kind of have to think about, like, if I do this, what could happen, blah, blah, blah. And then, it starts when your imagination starts going and thinking like that, then you start thinking more and more fanciful ideas and then, you start making up characters. I don't know. It's just like, I feel like it's part of basic communication with people is like, we want to be able to read a story or experience a story that's different from our own life experience. We want to be exposed to something different than what we're seeing in our day-to-day lives, because it just activates the brain and just makes you think about things in the world differently, reading a story and seeing other people's viewpoints, which comes from the story, whether it be fiction or nonfiction. I think because someone else created it or wrote it, you're being exposed to like a different way of thinking about the world, which I think is just really important to be able to function in the world, to be able to see things from a different perspective. I think it's an easy trap we can fall into when we only surround ourselves with stories of just what we believe or what we think about or just relates to our little bubble. I think it's very dangerous. I think story is very important so we can understand how other people live and exist in the world and see those other viewpoints, so we can be more open-minded and understand that like everything doesn't revolve around our little personal lives. And all that comes from story, I think.
That's a great point, and even more so now because we click on an article online, and now that reality is reflected back to us 100 times because now that algorithm is going to show us
so that's what
many similar...
That's what you want to read. And boom, 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 boom.
Right, and now they think that's you're wanting to learn all about golf, and so
right. It's very difficult. That's a really good example because it's harder and harder to like, because I have a lot of interest and I like to look at a lot of different articles, and I noticed that. Like if I click on an article about X, all of a sudden there's all these articles about the same thing coming up. It's like, no, I just kind of wanted to sample that, and I'm good. And if I want to know more about it, I'm going to Google it. But yeah, it is interesting how, I mean, it's amazing because of the internet that you have all this access to information that was so hard to get. And the flip side of it is, you're right, now that there's this way of algorithms channeling things to you, it's almost limiting you a little bit. Felt even like 10 years ago on the internet, felt much more wide open. Like you would just go anywhere, who knows what you'd click on and go see and go find. And now that they're trying to target you and guide you down a certain path, you kind of have to actively fight it, I think, now. You have to be aware of it and fight it. And I think it's dangerous and people don't realize. I think people are becoming more aware of it now, I hope. But it's very dangerous when people don't realize that things are being channeled to them, because they start to believe like, oh, that's what's going on in the world. But is it? And then you kind of have to make your list of things. If it's nonfiction, for me at least, it's like I have my list of places I go to, which I feel like will be able to give me real news. I mean, I remember growing up, maybe I'm showing my age, but I remember growing up that when you basically got news, you weren't worried about, I mean, there was a whole separate thing like, this is blah, blah's opinion. This is the opinion moment in the newscast or whatever. And the rest of it was news. It was basically facts, and that's the way it was. And now it's like very hard to find the places where you can get real news. They're out there. Definitely, like most of the mainstream big old news organizations, you can still like trust them, but there's just so many people are getting their news now from other little places that you're like, well, where are they? Who are these people and how much research did they put in? And this is dangerous. It's probably a dangerous topic to get into.
Maybe the algorithm could be haunting someone. That'll be the next one. It's stalking them.
That's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. That's actually a good idea.